Hey guys, it's your boy TG, and yeah, bring it from the bottom. You're locked in to another edition of Goo Gotcha Entertainment. Yeah, you heard that right. I'm your host, TrustGoode. Beside me today is Marco Polo, the greatest, my co-host for today. We do got Cam coming in very, very soon. He's taking care of some last minute business, and we'll get him into the rhythm and the groove and see what's going on there. But let's not even say that. This week, or last week, of all year, we saw a bunch of blowouts happen, and we seen some injuries happen. And we'll talk about the injuries, especially running backs, later in the day. Not only that, talk about teams on the bye week and how they played last week. Not only that, but we talk about other things throughout week 6 that some of the things we didn't see happening. Especially the Jags winning their first game. But let's talk about the NFL woes. Before we talk about the NFL woes, I got to ask you, Marcus, how you feeling? Another week.
Another week, feeling good. Another good week. Let's get it.
We are definitely going to be getting it. And you guys get in here. Hey, Cowboy fans, you are welcome to join the show anytime. Yeah, y'all are messaging me every single day. Guess what? Y'all bets to get up in here. Y'all can hear what I got to say about, well, Dallas on the Bible. But I still got something to say about you guys. And, well, you'll know, because I'm going to tell you about it towards the end. I didn't give y'all time to get up in here and y'all figure it out. But since you say you feeling good, I'm feeling good. I'm always good, because what we do, we keep things good. But let's talk about the NFL woes. Let's talk about teams and players and people that don't feel good this week, and they shouldn't feel good. Let's talk about this. Green Bay takes down the Bears last week in a good NFC matchup, 24-14, and Aaron Rodgers said he still owns the Bears. I don't know what he means by that. He might own part ownership. I don't know, but I'm trying to figure it out. The Bengals, they feast on the Lions 34-11. The Colts demolish the Texans 31-3, excuse me. Ravens groove past the Giants. No, not the Giants. Yeah, it's the Giants.
Chargers.
No, Chargers. My bad. Chargers. I'm delusion like the Giants. 38-11. The Chiefs take charge in Washington. 31-13. Now, that was all the woes for last week, but let's talk about not only this, developing news out of Houston. Not only Houston, but Washington. Not only Washington, but Miami. And let's talk about what's going on. The NFL trade deadline is November 2nd, coming very up, very, very
Right around the
quickly.
corner.
At 4 o'clock, 9 days left exact. So you got a little bit of time to think about this, but they got a 3-team trade going on. And with this trade, let me just tell you a little bit about this before I ask you this question. The Dolphins would get Deshaun Watson. In exchange, that Washington would get Tua. In exchange, the Texans get a lump sum of a 2022 draft picks, which is a first-round draft pick. They'll get 2 second-round draft picks and 1 third-round draft pick, all stemming from both teams of Washington and the Dolphins are giving these picks up. But let me ask you this. In your eyes, who do you believe or think would get the more value or better bang for their buck out of this trade?
Well, how I look at it, I would say both the Miami Dolphins and the Washington football team. If the Miami Dolphins does decide to get Deshaun Watson and Tua goes to the Washington football team, I feel like it's a win-win situation in both, but more likely the Washington football team, not only because you have Taylor Heineke, who is running the show right now at starting QB, but also you don't really know the status of Ryan Fitzpatrick. And because he's out and Tua steps in as maybe the backup or the starter, that just gives the Washington football team that much leverage, that much young but veteran presence in their favor. So I'll say the Washington football team has that much more advantage to help their QBs out.
Now, Cam just joined us, and welcome back, Cam, another week to GGE. It's always a pleasure having you, regardless if you're delusional or not. But Cam, how you feeling first off?
Feeling good, you know what I'm saying? So another 24 hours. So, I woke up this morning, you know what I'm saying? So I'm blessed. So, I can't complain. How y'all doing today?
Man, festive, good, as always.
Blessed to see another day.
But
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you this because you just chimed in, and the other viewers just seeing you come in
Mhm.
is talking about the trade deadline being on the 2nd at 4 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one trade of all trades that we probably don't know anything about that's going to come out during the 2nd, closer probably at 2, 3 o'clock. That's how everybody, the last team struggles get through. With 9 days left, Cam, you got
Mm-hmm.
a possibility of not only Deshaun Watson heading to Miami, Tua traveling to Washington, and then the Texans getting a haul of draft picks, which being one first round draft pick, 2 second round draft picks, and a third round draft pick, all in the same year, off of this trade. Now, I mean, Marcus said what he had said earlier about, I mean, this being a huge presence for Washington, but I mean, now you would have going into Washington, if you do get Tua, now the Washington football team has to make a decision of do we stick with Tyler Heineke, or do we slow with Tua that's injury prone?
Mhm.
I mean, and then not only that, the Dolphins will be set back with Watson, but we still don't even know what's at full steam with the 22 allegations of sexual misconduct to Deshaun Watson. But that still hasn't even panned out yet. And that's what's really his true reason of sitting on the bench. One of the reasons. And plus he wants out of Houston, obvious. But
Right.
who's the biggest if this thing falls through before the 2nd or anywhere in that time frame, who is the biggest gift giver of this? Like, or not even the gift giver, or the receiver, I would say, out of this whole deal.
Um, in my opinion, I believe that the Houston Texans, in the long run, will be winning this trade just because they're getting rid of the PR nightmare, which is Deshaun Watson right now. Because in all retrospect, the NFL is changing how they're doing things, and like they're
Understand.
calling for those emails to be released. So from a front office standpoint, the Texans are winning. Do those draft picks translate to anything? Who knows? We don't. I don't know how well the Texans can draft, especially with this upcoming draft when the quarterbacks are limited, unless they're going to go with Mills as their franchise quarterback. But again, for me, of course, I want to see Deshaun Watson be successful. I mean, he's a Clemson quarterback, and he won us a national championship. So, yes, do I want to see him be successful? Yes, but leaving Houston while in this headache of a situation that you're in regards to like the lawsuits and whatnot. I mean, it doesn't matter where he goes because that's still going to follow him until all this is finished. And then Washington, come on now, Tua, really? Are we gonna be serious right now? We saw what happens when Tua has weapons compared to when he doesn't. Tua is just an average Alabama quarterback. It's just not saying Mac Jones is an average quarterback because he's actually performing crazy this year. But Tua, he had all those weapons. He gets to the pros. I mean, yeah, he's a little injury prone, yeah, but I don't believe in Tua. That's just me personally. But like I said, Houston's the biggest winner. Whoever gets Deshaun Watson is the biggest loser, and Tua isn't an NFL starter, or shouldn't be at least.
Hmm. I like in my consideration. This whole trade is you're going to ship around a bunch of QBs. For Washington, I think this right here, Cam, and our honest opinion, um, I believe if you ship Tua to Washington, it causes a bunch of stupid chaos in the locker room
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you have a potential in Taylor Heineke, no doubt in my mind. Look what he's doing with Washington, regardless of win or loss. He plans with tough teams,
Yeah.
and the stuff that he's uh, put with is the issue. That he can't control that. That's a coaching staff thing.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I think the biggest outcome of who gets the most, I believe, is the Texans because they
Yeah,
need draft picks. They need to go in this thing very strong. And I think with the draft picks of first round, 2 second round draft picks, and a third, they can go into this draft and get something and turn
they should be
something
able to.
nothing out of something. And you ain't going to
They
get anything out of Deshaun Watson. You're not. Unless these allegations flow over him,
not
and
until
unless
he's
he wants
fully
to play, but they
cleared.
look like he don't want to play. So you might as well get something out of him before you get nothing, and you just have to leave him alone. And that's the thing you
Right.
want to do because you see what happened. And it's a far different scenario, but see what happened in Green Bay when they were getting their hands tied with Aaron Rodgers a long time. I mean, before the season started.
And Jordan Love.
They didn't know, should we do George Love? Should
Mhm.
they do Aaron Rodgers? Do we get Aaron Rodgers out and get something for him, or do we let him go next season and we don't get anything? That's the dilemmas you don't want to face as a front office staff, not even front office staff ownership, because that makes you kind of questionable with the next person that wants to come to you going, do they just ship me out when they're done with me? Yeah, they probably will. But that's something that I want to see pan out in the next 9 days and see how that goes. And it's going to be interesting to see that. But
I
meanwhile,
can I say
as that's
something?
going on, let's talk about the Goode games of week 7. And boy, oh boy, there's some good matchups this week. Boy, oh boy, there's some potential playoff matchups that we may see down the road if these teams pan out the way they pan out. First up,
Sure.
let's talk about not only this game because I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, but let's talk about the Washington football team going to Green Bay today. I mean, this game. I mean, I couldn't even tell you. Green Bay played good football last week.
They did.
Washington, well, they played 1-2 quarters and tried to fight it out, and they couldn't against Patrick Mahomes, the boys. But hey, it's Patrick Mahomes.
It's Patrick
But
Mahomes.
they released the field goal kicker, Justin Hopkins. Don't get me
Surprisingly,
wrong with that. Not the D
a
Hopkins
season
thing we
too
talking
late.
about. We talking about Justin
Oh
Hopkins,
yeah.
yeah.
A
And they signed a new
season too
kicker.
late.
That might have a factor to play in today. But Cam, I'm gonna ask you this: Washington's defense hasn't woke up all year long. I mean, they played a little bit last week for like 1 or 2 quarters, or maybe 5 minutes of the whole entire game, and then Mahomes unleashed havoc as he normally does. So, do you believe that the Washington football team's defense performs any difference than they have been playing the last 6 weeks?
I mean, I think so. Yes, based off y'all's questionable offensive line. I mean, not saying that y'all can't defend the pass rush, but it's going to be tough for y'all to defend that pass rush because, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Redskin, I'm sorry, the football team secondary isn't that great. We all know this. So what they're going to do, they're going to make Aaron Rodgers throw the ball. But the only way that they're going to be successful is by bringing all of those damn first round draft picks on that defensive line and blitzing almost every play. You have to make Aaron Rodgers, I wouldn't say get out of the pocket because we've seen what he can do outside of the pocket, but really let that boy Chase Young chase him around. I really want to see like the Redskins, or sorry, the football team, add some legitimate pressure on this Green Bay team. I'm not saying they're going to win because offensively, I don't believe in Heineke. I really don't. He's a good kid. You know what I'm saying? ODU product. I'm happy he made it. But from what I've seen, no, not at all. So in my opinion, I need the Washington defense to cause as much havoc for Aaron Rodgers and at least try and slow down that offense. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, this is one of those games where A-Rod, he may have, 100 and some odd passing yards, or he can go for 400. It really just depends
So
on which
you
Washington team
no,
shows
Cam.
up.
I want to hear you right. So you telling me that you play by the blitz, you die by the blitz. That's what
Yeah,
one commentator once said.
yeah,
And with Aaron Rodgers,
yeah.
he's not the Mahomes. Like Mahomes can take off out the pocket any moment, run in the field on you. But Rodgers don't have that ability quite much to run. He
Right.
can get some yards. Don't get me wrong,
He can here
but
and there, yeah.
do you think there's? I'm not even worried about they're up front. They're in the trenches. They
Right.
can win that. They can. But my thing is, like you said, you let Rodgers get outside the pocket. Now you created a different chapter in the book. Because we know what Green Bay practice. They practice this,
The scramble.
daily at their facilities when they practice this old kind of scrambling technique. It's one of the organizations that do it. I don't know how many people do it, but I know they do it, and they're successful at it. But do you think the secondary, like the cornerback safety position, will be able to hold up against what Rodgers? Because we saw what they did. I'm not going to get nothing wrong. They create havoc against Mahomes a little bit. They forced some turnovers against that Chiefs offense. And then what did the Chiefs offense do? They went into the third, fourth quarter, and they got all the balls back in the bag, and they tied it together and said, well, that's what happens when you got a better managed team,
Right.
or somebody can regroup. So do you think Washington's defense plays full 4 quarters? That's the question.
I don't. I think that. Let me take that back. I do. I do feel like Washington can play a full 4 quarters based off the Packers' offense not having as many weapons as the Chiefs. Because think about it, the Chiefs last week, it's hard. I mean, don't get me wrong, Kelsey and Tyreek Hill went down. I get that, but it's hard to defend Hill, Kelsey, Hardman. Who else they have? Clyde. Well, didn't the running back tear his ACL, so he's hurt. Kareem Hunt. I mean, you have all these types of weapons, and you're expected to stop that. Plus, an MVP caliber quarterback in Mahomes. That's tough to do. But now we go into Green Bay, no offense, but all you have to worry about is Aaron Jones and really Devontae Adams. If the little name wide receivers has a game, that's great. But you want them to beat you. You don't want Devontae Adams and Jones to beat you. You want to make Aaron Rodgers have to hit Valdez Scalding, Lazard, Cobb. You want him to have to use his weapons, his quote-unquote other weapons. Mercedes Lewis, come on now. 36 years old in the NFL. You want him to have to be a factor. If you take out Devontae Adams, somehow, someway slow him down, take him out of the equation, it's going to be a really close game, believe it or not. I mean, Washington's offense isn't great, but they can put up points. They find a way to score some way, somehow. So it's really, like I said, I feel like Washington's defense can play all 4. They're going to have to. They got embarrassed in the second half last week.
They
So
will
see
have to
today.
play all of it. But Cam, who you got winning that game?
The Packers, come on now.
Packers are
Come
winning.
on now.
Marcus, this not only who you got winning, but this matchup at QB position. I mean, this is going to be a tale of all sorts. Both teams have somewhat the average running back, and I mean, not taking that from Aaron Jones, but Green Bay splitting the running back core tonight. That's been the last few weeks. They've been splitting that duty a little bit more than usual. But now the QB position, you got Taylor Heineke versus Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you got a somewhat coming up in the ranks QB, and then you have a veteran MVP caliber QB and Aaron Rodgers. Now, this is the thing: who outperforms today? Like who do you think goes outside the ranks and go, okay, this is their game today?
It would have to be Green Bay. I mean, not only Aaron Rodgers has that level caliber of, just him being great, but you in Lambeau Field, and Lambeau Field, it gets loud, and the atmosphere is crazy. So with Green Bay Packers, I think they have the upward advantage today, and alongside with the Washington football team, I do think it will be close. However, the Washington football team's defense is kind of questionable. Can they find a way to get that spark on defense and try to, pressure Aaron Rodgers if they can? I know they say live by and die by the blitz, but if you blitz every snap on defense, guess what? A quarterback like Aaron Rodgers can easily adjust to it, which means that Aaron Rodgers, he can throw throw it downfield if he has a man wide open, or he gonna attack in the middle of the stretch. So that's the key things that you have to watch out for if you're on the Washington football team's defense. Because if not, that just means that Aaron Rodgers has other options that he can easily capture for.
Definitely capture. We'll see that goes in at 1 o'clock. We'll talk about some more red hot and fiery offenses. Talk about Patrick Mahomes and the Mahomies playing against the Tennessee Titans. Both of these teams had their moments last week. Now the Chiefs showed that you got to you can either be a second half team and win the game, or you got to play full 4 quarters. Now, not even talking about that, but the Tennessee Titans in their impressive game. I mean, who can stop a man like Derrick Henry when he's in the back? I don't know if he's part man, and I don't know what else the rest he's stuck with, or if it's steroids. I don't know, but this man is huge. This man last week had over 100 some plus yards. And I mean, boy, the first 4 carries, and I'm going to tell you in Camden's first 4 carries, they had him under 20 yards. And then after the fifth, he broke away for that 80-some yard rush. And I think me and Cam was on the phone, damn it. And I don't know what happened. After that, all hell broke loose for that defense in the Bills. And nobody can stop him. And it turned into a Derrick Henry show. And not only that, but talk about on the opposite side, as Cam has iterated more and more this week. I mean, this game, not this game, this year, Mahomes is struggling. Last week against Washington's defense, again, the Washington football team's defense with their struggles. He threw 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I understand they won the game. I understand he threw 397. Like, I understand all that, but you struggled against a defense that was struggling. It wasn't like you were playing a Rams. It wasn't like you were playing a Buffalo Bills
Or the Bucks.
or the Bucks or a Ravens defense. It wasn't nothing like that. You played the Washington football team and you struggled. And you won the game. Congratulations. You got your reward. But you looked horrible doing it. If you would play any other team in the NFL, except for the Jets or the Giants, you would have,
Or Jags.
or the Jags, you would have looked horrible. You would have lost that game. In all honesty. But Cam, I'm going to ask you this. Derrick Henry, do you think he has a performance like last week? Because some players have that like really great performance week against a team like the Buffalo Bills and the defense that they have playing, and then a week like this, Derrick Henry doesn't show up.
What does Shaquille O'Neal say when he likes a matchup? Barbecue chicken alert! I'm telling you right now, that Kansas City defense is trash. It is so bad. It has progressively got worse and worse year by year, but people don't talk about that. All people care about is that high-powered offense. Do you really think that Derrick Henry won't go crazy against this defense? He got crazy against the Buffalo Bills defense, which is, in fact, a top 5 defense in the league, if not the best defense in the league. And we talking about the Chiefs defense. They probably ranked 25th, 26th. Hell, they may be in last place. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. In order for the Chiefs to win this game, they're going to have to score 45 points. Guaranteed. Because and the thing is, you can put 7 people in the box to stop Derrick Henry. That's cool. Their secondary is so questionable. All Tannehill has to do is make the right look. You have A.J. Brown. You still have a productive Julio. You're not getting him the ball like I would like to see him get the ball. But they're still making those plays. Offensive line is extremely shaky. I think Taylor Lewan, he went down with the ACL injury, so he may be done for the season, I believe. But still, I'm expecting Derrick Henry to at least have 100+. Easily against this defense. But, I mean, I have the Titans winning this game too, personally. But that's just my opinion.
I mean, all honesty, Cam, honestly, in the books, this game is kind of one of those games easier, like you said. It's going to be a Mahomes versus a Derrick Henry show. Like, will Derrick Henry score 4 touchdowns and will Mahomes throw 4? Like, that's going to be kind of an odd game to see a running back do this. But last week, Derrick Henry is who he is. You can't change it. This man's the size of an offensive lineman running in the field at 20. I think last week they clocked him at 20 some miles per hour. How? I mean, God, this man is like you can't say anything. He's a beast.
It's like he's not a human.
He's not. He's part
I mean, think
goat.
about it.
Something.
That
Part
dude is
something. Part
he's
horse.
6'4",
But tell me this.
240, 250.
I got the
He's going.
Titans winning. Honestly, I think Tannehill does enough where he don't screw the game, and I think Derrick Henry trucks enough to get them a couple touchdowns, maybe 3, because that defense is just that horrible. And the Chiefs find some way to stop them. Kudos to them because I want to figure out what they're doing if they do stop Derrick Henry, if there is a chance in hell. But who you got winning today, Marcus?
I would say the Tennessee Titans will win this game. Like you mentioned, with Ryan Tannehill, as long as he don't screw up the game, I feel like in this favor it would be a much more advantage towards him, alongside with Derrick Henry and also AJ Brown. I know he was quiet last week against the Buffalo Bills, but until he got them catches, he started heating up. And I think it's important for the Tennessee Titans, to start fast if you want to get consistent and, just finding key targets in AJ Brown and also Julio Jones. And alongside with the Chiefs, they just up and down right now. You don't know like if they're gonna have a good game or they're gonna have a bad game. And I think that's when you start to question, has the league figured out Patrick Mahomes? Because every week you see Patrick Mahomes have turnover after turnover after turnover. That's when you start to question okay, has the league finally figured out Patrick Mahomes, and how can Patrick Mahomes overcome his mistakes?
I don't think there's no way of overcoming it.
How can he fix his mistakes? So I have the Titans.
This game is going to be crazy. I think Titans do win that game. It's just going to, if they find a way to stop Derrick Henry and Mahomes to stay
that's the big
score ahead right now, that's what I think happens. But if not, it's going to be a kind of it'll be a wild game. I think it'll be one of the games we see today. It'll be wild. Cam, we're going to talk about your Panthers versus the Giants, but
go Giants.
Illusion.
Next, go Giants. And listen,
but
I have a serious take though. Seriously, the Panthers the past 4 seasons has started off with a positive record, through the first maybe 5 to 6 weeks. Then after that, they just blow up. They implode. And I don't know if y'all really paid attention to the Panthers throughout the years, but I believe last year they started off hot, and they only had 5 or 6 wins on the season. You know what I'm saying? So it's this is the time where the Panthers do implode, and they implode against bad teams like the Giants. So that's why I'm saying the Giants are going to take this game, not based off me being a Giants fan, but just based off history and seeing how the Panthers do begin to struggle. They'll be in some games real tight, and then everything just hits the fan. Like Sam Darnold, I'm not saying he's looking like the old Sam Darnold, but these past couple of weeks, he's looked like a shell of himself, to be honest with you.
So I think that game goes really, really close.
Of course.
I mean, it'll be close between 2 teams. I'm not really talking about it. Like Cam said next. I mean, both of these things are going to matter in a few weeks anyway. I mean, just saying. It is what it is. Sorry, Cam, but that was an illusional statement today, brought to you by Cam's Corner. But welcome back to We Got You Entertainment. The Bengals versus the Ravens. Key AFC matchup. But Joe Burrow, he being on like Cam said, a voice kind of check down still. from that injury he sustained against Green Bay, whoever hit him in the throat, if that's what happened. But after the win last week, the 34-11 win against Detroit, he said the sky's the limit, end quote. And not only that, the team is to an impressive start of 4-2. And we haven't seen this in a while. Actually being second year for him after being that injury, gruesome injury we've seen to bring a team to this point, that's really impressive for a QB. Coming out of a huge injury like that. And most QBs you don't hear of after they take an injury like that, they come in the next season and just tread water in the same spot.
That's true.
But you play against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in their home, did I mention? And Lamar is impressive. Coming off an impressive win against the Chargers. A red hot offense of themselves too. But will Lamar be too much to handle for the Bengals today?
I say yes, because with Lamar Jackson, everyone was questioning, can they figure out Lamar Jackson? So far they haven't. And it's just impressive that the Ravens are sitting at 5-1 and they got 19 players on IR on their side, banged up with injuries, alongside with key players that they missing in J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards and Marcus Peters. It's just very impressive that despite all those injuries that they have beside them, they still fight and they still continue to win games, and for them to be sitting at 5-1. So I feel like Lamar is too much to handle, because how the system is set up with the Ravens, if the running game isn't working, then they have that special outlet in the passing game, which has been tremendous. I mean, you got Hollywood Brown being involved. You had Sammy Watkins being involved, Mark Andrews being involved, Devin Duvernay being involved, James Prochet being involved. Everyone's being involved in developing at their own strengths. That's why I feel like Lamar Jackson is too much to handle. And how like with Greg Roman, our offensive coordinator, if something isn't going right, I just like how he quickly, easily adjusts to something that's been working. And I feel like that's important in the game, especially if you going against an AFC key matchup against the Bengals, who's also red hot. So it just determines everything in this game, and I have the Ravens winning.
It's going to be an interesting game. I mean, both offenses are going at it. Last week, we see what the Bengals did and like me and Cam was talking off the record, and it was just like the Bengals and Joe Burrow, we were kind of questionable going into that week against them. I mean, will they win? Yeah, but it's just with him having that voice limitation. We thought that would be tricky, but that showed not to even compare playing against last week.
And also another key thing was how the Ravens defense was playing lights out last week against the Chargers. I mean, they only gave up 6 points, and I think that's impressive. If they can be consistent and stop those screen plays that Joe Burrow and the Bengals does, I feel like the Ravens can win this game. And also, another key factor was Deshaun Elliott. Deshaun Elliott coming back last week against the Chargers, he was playing lights out. And I feel like with Deshaun Elliott's element of physicality, that also made sure that everyone around him eats and, bring that physicality among them and show out.
Definitely. So Cam, in this conversation, we spoke on the Ravens' behalf, but the Bengals going into this game, another offense that took the world by storm, kind of. And like Burrow said, in quote, "The sky's the limit." Out quote. and that 34-11 win against Detroit, which that is Detroit now that we're talking about. Now, Joe Burrow, how do you think he performs against this Ravens defense that we've seen with Justin Herbert and what he couldn't control? Another young QB, now attacking on Joe Burrow. How do you think he performed after seeing that impressive win against the Lions? The Lions. The Lions.
Personally, I think that Joe Burrow will do well. I'm not saying he's going to put up those crazy numbers that he's been putting up for the past 3 weeks. But I believe that Joe Burrow will actually, stay calm, cool, and collected, and just play his game. Because when he said the sky's the limit, that's literally just a one-game mindset, bro. You're literally taking one game at a time, week by week. You're not looking forward to circling like divisional games. No, you have to worry about who's on the schedule for this week. Every day you have to work on getting better at something because you will always have holes everywhere on a team. You know what I'm saying? 1 week you can be balling out offensively, but your defense allowed daggone 28 points. You know what I'm saying? You have to critique those small things in order for you to be successful, which they are doing. They're 4-2. The Bengals, the Cincinnati Bengals are 4-2, so they're doing something right. And they draft well. These past 2 drafts have really put Burrow in a place for success, at least in a position for success. So I'm not saying he's going to go crazy against the Ravens because I expect that Ravens defense at the bank to go crazy. I'm expecting them to come out with those purple jerseys, and they're going to be running around like some chickens with their heads cut off going crazy. But I really feel like Joe Burrow will still have a consistent game, but I still have beating the Bengals by at least 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Just quick mentions in the Bears and Buccaneers game, and I want your input of who y'all got in this game because it's rattled with injury. So both next 2 games really won't even really mention and talk about them because they're both rattled with injuries. Bears and Bucks not only got Gronk and Brown out for that game, but not only talking about that, the Bears defensive front is hazard. I mean, yeah, they got Khalil Mack, no doubt in my mind. But when you have Hicks out, then you have your other defensive tackle out, and all you have is today would be the bad man Khalil Mack, and not only that, your tight end out too, Jimmy Graham. Which I mean, with that Musk, but Cam, who you got, Bears or Bucks? Cam may not be with us, may have lost into connection issues. We'll see. But Marcus, who you got, Bears or Bucks going in this game?
I'm taking the Bucks in this game. I mean, it's Tom Brady, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. If he knows that if his key receivers are like Brown and Gronk is out, of course other guys is going to step in, but with him being that quarterback, he's going to make you, a star and make you that talented and make you up your game that much more in order to be successful moving forward.
You're talking about this and bringing this up because of the Bucks, but Brady. I mean, they talk about this as one of the biggest and best free agent signings in a while or ever. Brady left New England, went from New England, traveled to Tampa Bay, brought a championship to Tampa Bay, being the first team to win an at home Super Bowl, and then go into this season and now having a successful season, destined to go back into the NFL. I mean, go back into the playoffs and go back to the Super Bowl.
And then not to mention with Tom Brady, how he took a pay cut and bringing back 22 other players. That's also important.
So, do you think this is one of the best free agent signings for not only Bucks but in the NFL?
In my mind, I'll say yeah.
I believe so too, but let's chomp it up a little bit more about the Colts and 49ers. That game goes on, I believe, 4 o'clock. It's Garoppolo returns, Trey Lance goes out. Hilton, T.Y. Hilton, is out. He came in last game, suffering from a neck injury. He leaves for a neck injury. He's out. Not only talking about that, we got a battle of the tight ends, Cox and Kittle. We'll see how that goes. But let's talk about this. Who you got winning and why? I think the Colts come out in 49ers because Jimmy Garoppolo's hurt and they don't have no backup. It's going to be a adventure for the 49ers today.
I feel like the Colts will win this game. You mentioned key players like T.Y. Hilton being out, but I feel like with Carson Wentz in the Colts, he has elements and he has options around him in Michael Pippen Jr. You have Paris Campbell, and you also have tight end, as you mentioned, Cox, that he can find some rhythm, find some help around him in order to gain extra yards.
We definitely will see that. And we got a lot of things to talk about, but I want to bring this into mention. And that concludes the whole conversation for NFL talk.
Mm-hmm.
But let's go into the conversation of Wilder and Fury. Fourth time. Target for March 22nd. March 2022. Think about it. You guys think about it. And wait till tomorrow night because this conversation is going to blow up. Not only that, we'll have Martell and Cam back with us on Monday. Cam may be out because Cam's celebrating a birthday coming up. And we'll see that's going on and see what's going on there. But we have a lot of conversation. You wait till tomorrow night because not only tomorrow night, we have who's the best team to beat an NFC AFC matchup. You guys think about that. Not only that, you talk about that Fury and Wilder fight, the fourth one coming up. I say if you don't beat them, join them. And that might be one thing he had to think about. And then another conversation, the running back shortages. We'll see about that tomorrow night. But also keep them playing because Tuesday night, it's the World Series, and that's set as the Houston Astros host the Atlanta Braves Tuesday night, October 26th at 8:09. And we'll see how that goes. Not only that, tonight's game that goes down, and not only tomorrow night, you'll see the Saints in Seattle face off in the 12-man at 8:15. And we'll see how that goes. It's going to be a nail biter for that game.
Yes.
And I can't wait to see what happens in that matchup with them two guys. But you got another 15 minutes for your games come on. 1 o'clock games, like you said. You got Washington and Green Bay Packers. You got the Ravens playing against Joe Burrow and the boys. The Cowboys. Yeah, the Cowboys. Y'all on the bye week. Just wait till I got to see what I got to say tomorrow night about you guys. Since y'all want to be on the bye week and y'all want to watch everybody else win or lose, and y'all lost. Y'all took a huge loss with Dak Prescott. But I'm not even going to get there. I'm not going to get there. I'm going to let you breathe for another week because y'all need a lot of room for air coming up very, very soon. But again, it's been a blast. Another week down. Tomorrow night, across the screen was Cam with the plan. We lost an internet connection today. Across the room is MPG, Marco Polo Graces, Marcus Ojalaya is my co-host. I'm your host, TrustGoode. We'll see you tomorrow night. Well, 6:45. I'll be here. I know he'll be here. I know Martell will be here. And we'll figure out if Cam will be here. But anyways, be blessed, guys. Say the rest. I'm out. Peace.